Hi, everybody. It's Stacy Sobel with Salon Today Conversations, and I'm with Nikki Le from Nikki Le Consultancy. Welcome, Nikki. And we are going to talk about a really important topic today because owners are still struggling with recruiting employees, and today's workforce, you need to find them and address them in a new way. So we're going to talk
Sure.
about modern hiring practices and what's working. So
Yes. So thank you so much, Stacy, for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it, and I love being here. And being part of Salon Today is just amazing, and I love the audience that it really reaches out to.
oh,
So
thank you.
I really want to speak today, just kind of narrow in sort of the hiring practices that saloners are doing, and maybe we can start with some of the challenges that saloners might be seeing and how to evolve some of that. And I think that people in the beauty business, specifically saloners that we work with, tend to approach hiring a little reactively. By that I mean they just kind of react to the moment. Oh, I need someone, so I'm just going to look for someone. Or, okay, I guess I need an ad, so I'm going to create an ad. Or I guess I'm going to do this. So it's all very unintentional, and there's really very little strategy behind that. And I think one of the best things we can do is just start thinking about what your hiring strategies are going to be. I mean, I think recruitment is one thing, but I think hiring is a whole other thing. So I think
Well,
for,
and I think a lot of salon owners hire out of they're desperate.
yeah,
It's to the point where they're desperate instead of having a constant recruiting feeding machine
right,
um, that
right.
feeds them good candidates whether they need them or not. So
One of the things that I really try to share the concept is just to broaden business owners' mindsets to really understand that recruitment isn't an activity that you do within your business, but instead it's really it's a full-time approach and task. It's a foundational piece to what you do. I share this concept as a business owner, as I've had the great fortune of being a business owner for quite some time, over 3 decades. I have had the opportunity to learn that business ownership in there, it's sort of like you're kind of winging it and you're sort of figuring things out a little bit. But one of the biggest pieces that I could pretty much share is that there's some fundamentals to being a business owner that you have to put some constant focus on. They're like the big foundational pieces, the pillars, so to speak, to small business. And one of those pillars, again, is financial literacy, but the other one is really to create the employee experience. And in building out that employee experience, it actually doesn't start when somebody starts with you on the first day. It technically starts with your recruitment messaging and how you find people. And then that hiring process is so crucial to the flavor and the style and how you do that and how customized you can make that. And, when we put our own imprinted brand stamp onto it and what makes us unique in how we can stand out in the marketplace. I mean, it's a little, I say, recruitment and hiring process is a little like dating. When you get out there and you create this beautiful profile and you create this a great sales page for yourself, so to speak, on like a dating page or a dating app, it has to have great imagery. It has to have great words that are very meaningful. It has to state the right things. It has to be authentic. So all of those pieces put together, I think it's important because then you kind of understand that really what we're doing is we're not hiring out of desperation or just trying to find a warm body to fill a chair. It's actually you're trying to send out very authentic messaging to find the right person that you can invest in. Because when you decide to hire somebody, I mean, we all know that it takes 50, 60, $70,000 to train somebody in a salon these days just to get them functioning in an independent way so that they can produce revenue for you. And so how do you get someone from that point to that point? I think that's very important to talk about. So I love narrowing down to the hiring process, the interview process, because it is like dating coaching almost, or date coaching. Is you kind of have to teach people what to say. I find that salon owners, I don't know if you hear this too, but I find that salon owners are always a little bit shell shocked. They're kind of like a deer in headlights as soon as they have an interview. They're kind of like, I don't even know what to say. What do I ask? What are the questions that I say? What do those questions even mean? Why is this important to me? Etc. And so I think some of the modern practices that a lot of people are doing these days is taking things digital and going to the digital format to really create recruitment. For example, an example of that would be to create an amazing career page on your website. So if you don't have a career page yet, or maybe even on your salon Facebook page or your salon Instagram. So on Instagram, you can create an entire highlight that just focuses on recruitment or focuses on the hiring process. And then on Facebook, you could have a carousel at the top of your page. That's something just kind of like long-standing, and all of the different things and all the pieces and the components that you build together. I said earlier that I feel like recruitment is a foundational job. It's something that is ongoing. It never ends. Your job as a business owner is to kind of constantly feed the pipeline. Don't be afraid of hiring, because if you've done great work with the coach to help you plan out compensation and plan out the strategy of like, I can afford to hire 2 people. I need to hire in this position. These are the skills I need. This is what my team needs. I need a front desk, or I need an assistant, or I need whatever it is that you're trying to decipher who you need. And then when you know what you need, you'll hire more confidently. So that giving you the strategy of that. So start there. And then when you build out these digital pieces, like, for example, a questionnaire that someone can download, and just it's sort of a little bit of a matching, questionnaire that says, why would you want to work for us? We took 4 or 5 questions that someone can submit to you, and that will help them kind of self vet too. Kind of get they'll decide if they're right for you, right? And I think one of the other things that has been super successful that I've seen in the digital format is to create videos for your business, testimonies of your best favorite VIP clients, employee branded testimonial videos, talking about growing their career here, sharing stories. Stories are very powerful. And so when you share a story of some of your best people, your ideal employee avatar, so to speak, in your company, this person, what was their journey like to come on board? How did you grow them? What was their income like? I mean, maybe not sharing super personal information, but certainly you can say general broad income terms to say we've doubled their income or tripled their income from when they started. And sharing these kind of stories about the things that you did for your company, these are just profound and impactful. And having these incredible videos on your career page and your website to share that, I think is fantastic. And then I think we have to have a multifaceted application process now too. So it can't really be just, a resume, send a resume to us anymore. It's really so much more than that. So one of the things that I really see happening and very successful in a lot of other industries too is video resume. So someone, you create a format for them, give them some great questions, and say, create a video for us, make it fun, make it exciting. We are the beauty business after all, right? And we are very creative. And I think being creative allows us to be a little bit more free and a little more expressive with our hiring process. So ask them really cool questions. Think about that, and let them send you and submit a video. So maybe on your career page, you can say, submit a video here. Or if you prefer to submit a resume here. Or maybe the third application could be a job application where maybe they don't have a resume. They could just fill out an application. That being said, though, I would recommend that your application be personalized. I would customize a job application for you, for your company, so that you can make it branded, ask the right questions that are pertinent to what you care most about. And I think that that's one of the best ways to sort of approach it.
We do the video interview at Bobbitt, and I will say the one thing that I think is really important about it is they do ask them a selection of questions, and they have so long to answer each one. And the nice thing about the videos is I can share them with, like, maybe this person's going to be mentored by 2 people, and we both want to discuss the same people, and we can share the video together and then discuss the person. So it's nice to have that element that you've got something you can share with. Maybe owners have team members or managers that are helping in the hiring process. So
I think that that's a really, really important thing to bring up, because there are many times that you have companies where the owner isn't the only one making the decision. Mm-hmm. And I also like it that sometimes when you're in the growth process where you're coaching them and you are a year in and you look back on the interview video to save it, I think it's pretty cool to let the candidate or the new hire, your employee, look back on their interview video. And it's very cringeworthy, but it's actually it really opens up this, kind of has fun, and And you can pull some pieces out of it if there's some profound moments and profound things that they said, and pull it out and relate it back to their
Or you
career.
said this is what you wanted to achieve and you did,
Yeah. Yeah. It helps them get very grateful about their accomplishments. I think people forget to do that, right? So I think the other thing that I really love seeing is this recruitment process being built out by these digital apps that they've, we have so many incredibly cool digital applications now that business owners can use. Salon Ninja would be one of them. They have this entire recruitment onboarding process. You have this other app that is mind-blowingly good, called Connect Team, and it's sort of like this HR hub. And you can use that to go through the hiring process and onboarding and things like that. I think that to have that where you submit the application, you self-select, you can bring them in here, and then to do the first interview always through video, I think is best these days, because it saves time. I know a lot of owners are very frustrated by the no-show interview. I hear this being, griped about quite a bit. And this is why I think the first interview being on video is so important. So you're not wasting your time. Well, it's still your time, but it's a little less painful if you're doing it on video and you're at home or something like that, right? And if they don't show on video, you can just kind of like get off the video and call it a day, right? So anyway, I like the first video to be digital, and then to be very deliberate and intentional about what you ask and what you look for in that first interview. I think it should be very casual, very get to know you, have certain things that bring up, you can talk about their video submission, you can bring up any references, any skill sets, things like that. I don't know if you, and really, as you know, I because I've submitted a lot of things about compensation, one of my specialty niches in coaching is compensation. I really love compensation. I really love building out compensation plans with people, really like talking about the diversity of compensation and how that creates a more powerful leadership position for you. So really, I think for me, the compensation conversation has to happen first. So instead of, I know there's this question about when does compensation come into the conversation and when is it appropriate? And I know back in the 80s and the 90s, when I was starting out in the industry, compensation was sort of those taboo topics. Like, don't bring this up. It's inappropriate.
Right.
I just think that this day and age, the marketplace is different now. And the new workforce is just, I think no one wants to waste time. Everyone wants to make sure that financially it's going to work out. And I think that you have to have a very strong, structured compensation system where you understand exactly what entry-level pay is going to be, how long they're going to be there, how you're going to grow them. And I think that conversation needs to happen first, so that there is no wasting of time. So if this isn't going to work out and this isn't working for you, then we can end it now and we can move on, right? I mean, I just think that that's something that the beauty industry, I see, sort of struggles with that piece a little bit. They're just like, wait, we should talk about that first. And I think that's a very important piece to talk about.
I agree. And if you have a very solid compensation system where you have specific levels and they have goals to get to each of those levels, that's something you can present them. Like, this is what's achievable, but here's what you've got to put in to get there.
Right. So, I find that what they want to know first, above all else, before they discuss all the other things. I'm not saying that compensation is the most important thing, but it is the biggest reason why they're looking for a job. And so we just need to just get that out of the way. And I think what they really want to know is, what is the entry level pay going to look like? How committed are you to paying that? How fast can I grow out of it? How does it work for me? Who's calculating it? Who's doing the payroll? How can I grow out of it? So answer those questions first. Make that part of the conversation. And I almost always help salon owners really come to the realization that they need a physical pay plan that they can present. Another thing that I think works very, very well in these presentations, I think the presentations during the first interviews have to be super glossy and very, very, very effective sales pitches for your business, for who you are, for what you have to provide. And I think I would recommend creating a beautiful PowerPoint presentation for those Zooms so that you can actually have a structure around that presentation. I don't know if any one of you have ever, I know you have, but saloners that are listening now, I don't know if any one of you have ever had a sort of a demo with like a software company or a demo with like a payroll company or something like this. They have their presentation fine-tuned.
Yeah.
Like, you get on, you have 30 minutes of the time, you establish a duration of time, and you click, and you present the presentation, you talk about the key points, you just answer all their questions so that they're just like, okay, I can move forward with this, and ask, would you like to move forward? So I think that that kind of process will streamline for you too. And it differentiates you in the marketplace. I think that's really important, is that as people are interviewing with other businesses, when they see that you're a standout, they will always kind of align. Well, the right people hopefully will align to you, and you'll find those people a little bit better.
And all of that communicates a little bit about your design, your culture. You know, if you
Right.
have a very sophisticated looking PowerPoint and it's beautiful, your aesthetic, um,
Right.
which is important in this industry, and it helps communicate the whole total picture.
Right. So the idea is to take 4 hours of information and boil it down to 20 minutes of key, concise points. So, and make it look as glamorous as possible, or as cool as possible, or whatever word you want to use. But I think that that's really where it's at. And so make those first interviews very effective, because what you need to do is you need to decipher and sort through who is going to continue on the path into the place where you will choose to invest. That's really what you're doing, is you're selecting people to invest in, not just selecting people to hire. And then at that point, discuss in the second interview, I think really needs to discuss, what is the investment? What does that look like? What is their commitment? What is yours? So I think that second conversation has to be that. And potentially a tour, either if they need to do it physically, like, where they're physically there, or you can even do it virtually, or you can give them that too. And I'd recommend that you create a salon tour video and have it just on your website. So, just, this is where we are break room. This is where this is what our stations look like. This is all of that, right? So they can see what that looks like. And then I think you can move and pass that into what I call the skill simulation day, or the demo day. I think there needs to be, and I would recommend that you have them demonstrate every service they say they want to do, that they are grading themselves at the highest level. So if they say they can do balayage on a scale of 1 to 10 at a 9, before you open them up, in order to maintain amazing quality control, I think you need to make sure that you vet them, or you test them out of that service. And I would absolutely recommend that you open their books up for the stuff they're good at, and then keep their books closed for the other things, and then keep training to that. So you're training to the weaknesses, and then allowing them to grow, and being very just considering that whole process very carefully. So that third interview is very important to me. It's really identifying their skill, identifying where they're most confident, and then allowing them to sort of move off of that into the book, so they can start to make money for you wherever they can right away, and then start to build out a customized training contract. And I think that training contract needs to be involved in that third or fourth interview at that point. And then the fourth interview is really the logistics. That's going to be, we need to identify your schedule. We're going to need to, and make their schedule right then, and then introduce them to pre-onboarding concepts. And I think the one thing that I would say could really identify something really incredible for you is to create a job offer presentation. So the ones that you really want the job to offer the job in the position to, make it very celebratory, very formal, and very beautiful, very branded. And so it just gives them this amazing first experience that sort of imprints your brand onto them to some degree. And I think that's such a great idea to do that as well. But so those are some of the key things that I would say. And then, of course, we can lead into pre-onboard, but that may be another call. So, and then the pre-onboard phase is, I think, very important.
I think we are about out of time, but that was really excellent. And I love the idea of a offer presentation.
Yeah.
I mean, you just think
so
if it's something you could keep, it's something you could, show your parents or show your friends. You just get a phone call with an offer. It's nothing you can do with that.
It's not the same as some huge, wonderful, welcoming celebration of welcome to the team. We're just so excited that you're coming on board. So
love that.
So I hope some of those ideas would help business owners kind of create that. But if you guys want more, reach out. I actually help people a lot with designing their hiring strategies and their processes. And we really talk about every single detail, all the way into pre-onboard and then formal onboarding and training.
Well, thank you very much, Nikki. You gave us just a little taste of what your clients get from you. And it was beautiful. So Love
Thank you.
love the modern hiring practices. Hope they help someone.
Thank you so much.